Here's one last quick PSA for everybody before we go. If you're like me and decided to do what they told you the right thing was after high school, and you have a set of student loans, they're due next week. Guess what, everybody? You got the emails, you got the notifications. Next week, baby, student loans are due. And guess who's not paying them? Me, dude. I don't know about you, but I can't freaking afford it anymore. We've literally all gone, now what, 3 years? 3 years. 3 long years through pandemic, stimulus checks, PPP loans getting just wiped away, other major student loans because of the school promising things and didn't deliver on it like my school did, but mine still exists. All of their loans got wiped away. We're sending billions of trillions of dollars to other countries like the Ukraine for proxy wars that we're not even fighting. We're spending billions and millions of dollars on hotels for immigrants in New York City and border patrol and security, and that whole crisis happening in the epicenter of the East Coast and in Texas and everywhere else on the planet. And yet we're gonna make people, when inflation has been the highest it's been in this country in the last 3 years, we're gonna make people who are now paying $4 a gallon for gas, rent and mortgages are now through the roof. If you bought a house like us during COVID, congratulations. Don't sell that shit. If you bought a house in COVID and your interest rate is 3% or lower like ours is, don't move an inch, because you're not getting anywhere near that now. I think interest rates are starting at about 6, and that's if you've got perfect credit. So if you don't, like us, and your credit's the shit now, then you're probably looking at like a 7 to 8 to 9% interest rate on your new house, and you might want to wait a year. You might want to wait because we're probably headed back in that direction. So if you're like me, and now it's like, look, I got the email from freaking Nelnet, and they're like, hey, heads up, bro, you owe us $300 next month. And so I said, hey guys, guess what? $300 is like leasing a new or brand new, maybe slightly used Tesla. For like $300, maybe $400 max, I can get a brand new Tesla in my driveway and not pay my student loans back. And guess what? I can't afford a Tesla. So if you think that in the next week, I myself am going to pay, I haven't paid the HOA in 4 months, I haven't paid credit cards, I haven't paid bills, I don't pay the PA Turnpike when they send those stupid shits in the mail, because I'm a freaking citizen and I've got other shit to take care of. So if you think for a minute, after 3 years, that we're all just going to hop back on board, get in line, head down to the ATM, and just put a smile on our faces and hand you all $100, $200, $300, $400 a month for our college education, which was probably twice as much as it should have been because there weren't any legislation, federal laws in place back in 2013. I graduated college in 2013, and when I did that, my student loans were $30,000 because my parents and whatever else at the time, grants or scholarships or whatever, handled the other 70%, which was like $70,000. So God bless them. But I myself have 30 grand of student loans. And in 2013, when I started paying on them, they were 30 grand. And now here we are in 2023, 10 years later, and my student loan balance is now $29,000. In 10 years, $1,000 has gone towards the principal, and the rest has gone towards whatever this astronomical, uncappable, it would seem, amount of interest rates that they tack onto these student loans to just bury you for your entire life. Because $100, a $200, a $300 payment every month for student loans isn't going to make a freaking dent when they're charging you 80% interest or whatever the outrageous number is every freaking month. So, if you're like me, when your student loans are due next week, do a few things. One, don't pay them, okay? Because at the same time, the government's gonna shut down. Like, this happens every few years, and I don't really quite understand how we get to this point. If the United States government can do the following, like send $1 trillion to the Ukraine, spend $1 trillion on wiping out PPP loans over COVID, spend trillions of dollars on everything else that we spend, AI fighter jets that get lost in the middle of South Carolina field somewhere, we're spending $1 trillion on that program. And then you have the audacity to tell us, the people of the United States, that what was promised to us, now listen to me, I wouldn't be here doing this if the man in charge, the president of the United States, did not get on that podium and say, I will give you all $10,000 to $20,000 to wipe out your student loan debt, if not entirely, the mass majority of it. I got on a call with my now editor, Jeff, and he was almost in tears, relieved, because this $20,000 chunk of dollars would get taken off his frickin' debt load. Like, we're all living with the freaking responsibilities and the negative decisions of our parents telling us you need a house by 30, you need to be married by 30, you need a college education, you need to do this, and we did it. And now we have a whole generation of millennials who are literally $150,000 in debt, maybe $250,000. I think our grand total household debt number now is like, with credit cards, with the house, with the car, with the student loans, we're probably looking at a grand household total worth of debt that we owe to multiple different organizations and community, probably like $200,000, probably like maybe $250,000. So if you could only imagine, if I thought, wow, my $230,000 worth of debt was about to be eliminated via a $30,000 paycheck from President Biden because that's what he told us he was going to do. And now, here we are 6 months later, realizing that that's not going to happen. We've got some other things in place. We're a little pissy. So there is, for those of you who don't know, and not a lot of people are talking about this, so let's do our best to try to make this clip of the podcast go viral. There is now a federal program in place for student loan repayment that starts next week. And that federal program, I think it's called SAVE. I'm not 100% sure. There's going to be stuff in the description down below. Check that for the full-blown information. But this program, basically, because of inflation, because of our economy, because of Biden's economy, because of everything we're doing, because of the loans and the rates and the COVID and the pandemic and this and that and the job market and everything else going on that has led us to this inflated economy where people can barely afford their freaking groceries, we're going to kick up the student loan payments again to just further drive us into another recession. And so we now have this program from the federal government that basically states from September of 2023, so right now until next year, for the entirety of next year, if you don't make a penny's payment on your student loans, whoever is holding that loan cannot take or fault you for that non-payment. They can't take it to the credit bureaus. They can't hit your credit score. They can't say pay us or we're shutting you down. They can't force you to pay it. Under this new federal loan, from what I am to understand, and I'm just an idiot, so please do your research, but under this new federal, I said loan, but under this new federal regulation for the next year, they cannot penalize you if you do not pay your student loans. So, what I am proposing, if you are hearing this and you have student loans, don't pay them. Don't pay them back. Why would you? Why would anyone in their right mind spend the next year paying their student loans? The only penalty that the student loan companies can give you for not paying your loans is recurred interest. If you don't pay your loans for the next year, that interest is still going to build up over the next year. Well, guess what, bitch? It's been 10 years, and all I've been paying on is interest, and all I'll ever pay on is interest. And that's why I'm going to call them Now, I think the issue is the government shuts down, like in 24 hours. We've defaulted on our loans because the government can't fucking organize their own finances, let alone expect the American people to. But if we don't, we go to jail. If we don't organize our finances and pay our taxes properly and do what we're supposed to do, a sheriff will be knocking on your door saying, "Sir, you owe the state $5,000. Like, it's happened. So it's a little ridiculous at how the government can just shut down, which means now all of the employees just have to stay home, whether they're paid, I don't know if they're paid or not, unemployment maybe, who knows. But because the government can't handle their finances correctly, because they're too busy looking for fucking AI fighter jets and whatever else we're doing on a daily basis, we've now got to shut down. And because the student education, whatever department is part of the government, about like 20% of all the employees and the freaking people that you need to call to talk about your student loans are going to be at home, not working because the government shut down. And that's another piece of bullshit to the pie to add to the fucking bullshit chef salad that we're building here in the United States, is that the same day the government shuts down is the same day they expect you to pay your student loans back. And guess what? The government shutdown doesn't affect it. You got to pay them back either way. So I'll say it again. If you owe student loans and your payment is due, don't make a dollar payment to that account. Don't do it. Spend the next year balling out, living your life, doing the same shit you were trying to do, living the same life you were trying to live the last 3 years before someone just tossed this brand new, which it's technically brand new. Yeah, we all knew it was coming. Yeah, we all knew it was there. But when we've got the president of the White House in the White House promising he's just going to eliminate it all eventually anyways, like, that gets our hopes up, and now I'm a little pissy that I got to pay again. So, sounds like a lot of guys and a lot of privilege coming from this end of thing, but if you really sit down to think about it, if we all don't pay back our student loans, they will be forced to do something. They will be forced to do something and probably just get rid of them all. It's about where we're at now, but we need a few more people to take a few more steps, and then we would probably have, listen, if the Democrats want to win 2024, I didn't mean to go fully political, but if the Democrats want to win 2024, because right now, there's no way whoever they put up to run against Donald Trump, no way a Biden's going to win. No way a Kamala Harris. No way anyone else. No way whoever they put up. If the Democrats want the 2024 election, they must cancel all student loans, because that will not only boost the economy and take it to the freaking stratosphere, because then everyone will be like, whoa, they did it. They canceled my student loans. Spend. Let's go on vacation. Let's celebrate. And the economy, I guarantee you, the minute they get rid of student loans in this country, because we don't have them in every other country, do we? The minute they get rid of them, the economy will boom and the people will be happy. Fuck whoever's crying about it in Texas, whatever Republican senator's crying about it in Texas. The guy who stopped this whole thing, by the way, got his friggin' PPP loans wiped scot-free. Like, not a penny to pay back for those. But God forbid the government decide to cancel, I don't know what. I think it's like $30 billion. I literally think it's like $30 billion. The exact amount, twice as many dollars that we accidentally sent to the Ukraine. And the student loan crisis will be gone forever.